of the Wrestling Estate podcast. My name is Jack Goodwillie, and it's good to be back. Bit of a small hiatus there, but we're trying to get back into a bit of a rhythm here. Joined by editor in chief John Corrigan. John, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic, Jack. Thank you for bringing me back. And I'm always a fan of the Freak Show. I'm going to my first Freak Show tomorrow night in Delaware.
Is it with that new girlfriend of yours?
It is. She drags me to alpaca farms and freak shows.
So wait, you're really going to a freak show? That's not
Yeah,
like a
we
euphemism.
don't. No, no, no. Although, no, I'm not going to touch that. But we do. I think it's like a circus, but it's. I don't know. It's called a freak show, and I guess it has like bearded ladies and all that shit.
Oh, okay. It's yeah, that is a freak show. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that is quite literally a freak show. So yeah, cool. Let's dig right into it. John, first question: Brett Kavanaugh, innocent or guilty?
Oh Jesus
I'm just kidding.
Christ.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, honestly, I've been a little bit out of it. For the past couple weeks. Ever since the last pay-per-view event of WWE, I've just gotten kind of busy, and I'm gonna need you to fill me in a little bit on what's been going on.
Well, you probably haven't missed much. What's the last thing
Big.
that you've seen?
Well, it was actually the probably. I mean, I follow along with the YouTube clips for Raw. I honestly don't watch Raw anymore. There's really no point. Too many commercials, too much time commitment. There's a lot you can do in 3 hours, and when you're only getting about just over 2 hours of wrestling in a 3 hour show, it's not good use of your time. It's just not. So I follow along where I can, and SmackDown, same thing. But the last thing I liked was Leo Rush becoming Bobby Lashley's manager.
Well, I don't really care about Bobby Lashley or Leo Rush, to be honest with you. I
Wow.
think yeah, I don't really care. They've killed him off. As soon as Lashley beat Reigns at that pay per view, and then still didn't go to SummerSlam to face Lesnar, I was done. That
I
was it for
know.
me.
I know. And we talked about that a little bit. We both, I think, advocated for a triple threat. Is that
Yes.
right? That would have been cool. And Bobby Lashley wasn't even on the show. He wasn't even in a segment with Elias.
Wins and losses matter, as your good boy Jim Cornette likes to say.
That's what I say too. I come from that school of thought.
Jack Cornette. I could be your new gimmick.
Goddamn. No, that's I need to
Mother,
really like hone a Jim Cornette impression. Um,
motherfucker.
that's Bruce's though. Bruce's isn't any good. It's just funny because
I
he
love
does
it.
it.
I seen some people shitting on my boy Conrad, and people are always shitting on Bruce, but I don't care. That show's hilarious. I love chocolate titties and the Vince impression and everything about it. It's fun. I mean, these people are just too critical. I don't know. They don't like Conrad's accent. They think he's like a super fan who's
Yeah,
throwing his weight around. It's weird.
like maybe he's like a kiss ass or something like that.
But he's really not, because he calls Bruce out on a lot of shit.
He does. I saw a recent tweet from a guy like making fun of Conrad's like catchphrases where he's like um hey Bruce, chat me up.
Yeah, I mean that's his thing. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
JR had scalded dog. I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah. I mean, as far as that show goes, I think that I don't know why they don't just let the voters pick the episodes anymore. I mean, I guess it's
Yeah.
cool they have episodes planned for the next 5 months or whatever. But
Well, I like some. I mean, yeah, I don't know. What I like about it is there's such a big variety. Like they did something from like an '08 pay-per-view, then they talk about something from the '80s. I just like the different uniqueness. And now I see you mentioned like some of those later shows. It seems like they're going to be covering more single episodes, like a Raw Christmas from '97 and stuff like that. Which I don't know. I mean, I don't know how cool that'll be. The only thing I really like about the pay-per-view episodes is that he covers things that happen throughout that whole month of time. That's much more fascinating than the actual pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's a nice touch. I'm very partial to the character-driven episodes.
Yeah, me too.
Because it's like any good story, that like a fictional book that you can read. It's you're pretty much looking at things through that character's eyes, and Bruce kind of like telling from this third person omniscient point of view. It's really something, and they're gonna be getting back to those. I think we've still got Rikishi and William Regal among others before the end of the year.
Those will be good. You'll get the Rikishi running over Austin, and you got Regal and all his like drug issues and personal demons. I think those always makes for some interesting episodes.
I just rewatched William Regal's final promo. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Where, he actually he fought Cesaro on the NXT 2013 episode that aired on Christmas Day, and he cut a promo about how he's like looking back on his career and what a pity it was that he never won the world title, but it was always because he was just a little bit too naughty, as he put it. But then he put over Cesaro like $1 million too.
Those Brits have a good way of phrasing things, like our good boy Steven Jackson.
Yeah, that's something else. How about that? How about we never really got to talk about this person to person, but how about that Matt Hardy thing from a couple weeks ago? You know, the post that I didn't get tagged in.
Listen, you should be thanking me so your phone didn't blow up. I had Gib. Gib was subtweeting. He was subtweeting about his phone being blown up.
Come on, man.
You take that up with Dave Gibb.
That's a very Bruce-like response. But it's cool. No, that was a real coup for the site. I was very happy with that.
Well, it was and it wasn't. We didn't get nearly the traffic you'd expect from a guy with 1 million followers. But obviously, I don't know. It got us more publicity. I think we got a few more followers from it. It did, do good numbers, but I was disappointed. I thought it would be our highest thing ever.
What is our highest thing ever at this point?
It remains the 25 greatest Raw episodes, which was posted in January and still gets hundreds of views each week.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For no rhyme or reason. I mean, are people looking up best Raw episodes? Who the hell's doing that?
That's true. That's very random. Raw's in the shitter right now, and it has been for a long time. It really has.
What do we got on Raw? Ronda Rousey. The Shield came back, and maybe Dean's going to turn heel. Who knows?
He's not.
He's not.
Whenever
you
they
don't think he is.
Whenever they do this shit, they always do a backdoor swerve. They never. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a red herring.
It sounds like a California move out there. Backdoor swerve.
Well, when you look at like WWE turns, the ones that maybe you have seen coming, like the Becky Lynch ones, they didn't tease the shit out of it beforehand. They'll pull it out of nowhere. When they tease it, it doesn't happen.
That's a good point.
So
some would argue that Becky didn't even turn.
I would argue that Becky didn't even turn. I'll put my name to that.
Listen, I think she's gotten hotter in her new attitude. I think she's gotten
hotter as in
looks wise, sex appeal. Your favorite what do you call them? Incels? What do you call that?
Oh yeah, incels, pro wrestling fans, or that's what who's I getting on?
Ed Ferrara.
On for that?
Ed Ferrara.
That's right. Yeah, fuck him.
Well, you'd remember if you posted our last episode, you had me on here for 3 hours. I still haven't seen the damn thing.
Yeah, that's a sore subject, even for me. Speaking of episodes that no one's seen, I had Troy on the show a couple weeks ago, and I never really got audio from him, and I told him before the show that we'll do it just like normal, and we weren't even doing it this way when he was on the show. We were doing it through Skype, and we just both record our audio tracks and put it together. But we talked for a while about Road Dogg, and I just kind of shat all over the Road Dogg for his loyalty to the bitter end of that the awful logic behind Charlotte still being the face in that rivalry.
I think you touched on that in one of the roundtables.
Oh yeah, I probably did. I really didn't like the way he tried to defend it on social media, and then he went after Mike Sempervive of F4W and told him, basically insinuated that he wanted to fight him if he ever came around.
Shake, rattle, roll, baby, get ready.
Yeah, it's too bad because I don't dislike him as a dude, really. I mean, I've never been enamored with his work. I haven't seen too much of it. It was a little before my time, but still. Come on, what are you doing?
I think if you've seen one of his matches, I think you've seen them all.
Kind of like our boy Enzo.
What's he up to? Is he doing anything? Is he still rapping?
He's I guess. I mean, I saw a video of him helping out a disabled boy recently. I don't know if it was Make a Wish or it was whatever he did. It was a really nice gesture, I think, from him.
How come you're not commending WWE on the Susan G. Komen Foundation supported by Dana Warrior?
Jesus Christ.
I mean, unacceptable.
Yeah, I don't commend them on any of their philanthropy work because I know it's fucking phony. I'm sorry, but it is. It's an act. The Be a Star thing, it's just for, for sponsors and stuff. I get it.
It's a work.
I understand it, bro. I'm not saying I don't understand it, but you don't have to like it. And I'm not this crazy PC raving person like Evan Cross is either. But even I can see that Dana Warrior's a fucking fraud.
When are you going to get Evan on the damn thing here? We need to hear his takes.
I don't know, man. I haven't spoken to him in a long time. I'd like to hear what he thinks of the product these days.
Oh my! I don't even know if he still watches it.
Yeah,
he doesn't tweet about it.
Maybe I'll catch him after the Eagles are eliminated from playoff contention.
Well, that's a sore spot. But that touches on what we were saying earlier. I think with the rise of fantasy football making almost every game important to people where, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, they wouldn't be. It's tough to watch Raw when you've got when you're up by 10 and you're going against James Conner on a Monday night. There's just more investment in Monday Night Football than you're ever going to get in wrestling, where obviously, as we said, the wins and losses seem to not matter. There's not many characters that are that captivating, and the ones that are captivating aren't pushed or presented in a light to sustain that momentum. Whereas it's life or death sometimes on Monday night.
It really is. Shout out James Conner.
Yeah, I think I beat him that week, but it was still a tricky one.
I see. Well, we do have a Super Showdown coming up. There's at least that, right?
Are you gonna watch that? What's that? 2 a.m. where you are?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's actually in the morning, like maybe 6 a.m. I'm not watching it. I'm not gonna watch. Like I really have no interest. I was very blunt about that in our recent roundtable. I'm a sucker for nostalgia, but when you continually lie to the fans about, eras and last time ever and legends and, keeping guys around so far past their expiration date, they've been spoiled rotten. I'm not going to like that, and I'm not going to subscribe to that. I'm not going to want to watch. But that's what we're going to get in Undertaker Triple H. Other than that, you've got rematches from Hell in a Cell. There were good matches, but I guess they're going to blow off Samoa Joe, AJ. They're going to blow off Miz, Daniel Bryan for the moment. We're doing Charlotte and Becky again. I don't know what's going to go down with that. Um, and then what was the? Oh yeah, John Cena's in tag team action. Have you seen this John Cena new finishing maneuver?
No, but you referenced it. I'm excited to see a
All
clip
right,
of it.
you could look at. I mean, you could check it out now if you want online. He broke it out in China. I think it was in a similar match where he was tagging with Lashley, but he broke it out and the crowd reacted accordingly. We'll just put it that way.
Okay.
It'll be fun to see it on TV though. Other than that, like I don't know. There was one match that I was looking forward to that's not really registering right now.
Was it Buddy Murphy?
No. Buddy Murphy is discount Kenny Omega.
I don't even know
Can't
who
sign
either of
Kenny
those
Omega?
people are.
Can't sign Kenny Omega? Create your own Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega is a dud. He's the most overrated wrestler of all time.
Whoa, where did that come from?
I told you last time. When somebody hits you with
Oh
three
yeah,
tombstones, you
sure.
kick out at one. I'm done. It's over.
That's fine, but how do you go from that to not knowing who the guy is?
No, I know who he is. He's boring to me. I don't think his promos are exciting. I don't. I thought that entrance was cool when he came out as like Triple H's Terminator. A stunt double. I thought that was fun. But other than that, I'm not really into Kenny Omega. I like Cody. I love the Young Bucks. I like Hangman Page. I even like Ibushi. But Kenny Omega, too much hype, not enough. Not enough substance.
I read the other day that Hangman Page just turned down a WWE contract.
Which is crazy, isn't it?
A little bit. I mean, I think that he'd have been wise to take that. I think his stock is a lot higher than he is talented. I'll put it that way.
Well, I think that, if Cody and the Young Bucks if they knew about it, I think they would have encouraged him to take the deal. I mean,
I'd like to hope
this
so.
yeah, this Bullet Club thing could end at any time. I'm sure if WWE made the Young Bucks or Cody a big time offer, they would take it in a heartbeat and not worry about the other guys. It's a business, and while it's cool that they all have this pact to stay together, I think Hangman Page is young enough to realize he's got a lot of potential and a long career and money to make, and he's super talented, and he really should have taken that deal.
Yeah, I put here's how I would describe Hangman Page. In my I guess this wasn't really heard to the world or anything, but in my podcast with Troy that never saw the light of day, I basically called Hangman Page a system quarterback. He's a guy that you can put in the right position and he's gonna thrive. You put him with Cody and the Young Bucks, he's gonna get that rub and he's gonna thrive, and it's really gonna make him stand out a little bit. But stand alone, I don't think people really care about him. I think they just care about the whole group, and he's just in it. So that's kind of where that comes from. And then also, I don't think the Joey Ryan stuff does him any favors either.
Well, we all know your takes on Joey Ryan. We've all heard, but I also know that you bought a front row ticket to the Joey Ryan penis party next year. Is that true or false?
What penis party?
Oh, you're gonna. All right, so it's far fetched for me to not know who Kenny Omega is, but you haven't heard of the Joey Ryan penis party?
It sounds made up.
It sounds made up. Why don't you get on your Google machine,
Too
Bruce?
easy.
Why don't you figure it out? It's going head to head, probably with Joey Janela's spring break during WrestleMania weekend next year.
Why would they do that?
I don't know why, and that's what a lot of people are complaining about that.
Did you hear about Joey Janela's? He kind of like fucked up his knee.
Do you not look at our goddamn Twitter? Where have you been?
I told you I've been out of the vein.
Of course, I tweeted from the main account, wishing our best, offering them words of wisdom. We support Joey Janela. He's a good guy.
I
He
support
also
him too.
did an interview with Team Left Jab when he was a huge star and didn't need to.
Yeah, I like Joey Janela. I've gone back and forth with him on just how good he is, and I can't really tell, honestly. I
What does
can't
that
figure it out.
mean?
Like, is he? Maybe I just haven't seen enough. But every time I do see him, there's moments in the match where I'm like, this guy is really good, and then there's other moments in the match. It's like, why do you do that?
Are you saying he's not perfect? Is that what you're
I'm not
implying?
saying that. I like not perfect. Not perfect is good. You know who else likes not perfect? Jim Cornette. That's why he thinks that Terry Funk versus Jerry Lawler in the match where they just pretty much just threw punches the entire time is like his favorite match ever.
Well, the empty arena match.
Yeah,
Oh, I love that man. Well,
I
that's
like
not
that.
that's yeah.
I like it too.
They told a story that was very entertaining.
It was.
Sometimes punches is all you need. I saw
I
Piper and
agree.
Valentine. There's one on the Hidden Gems before that thing exploded on the network. They had a match, I guess in '83, right before Piper left. That was pretty much all punches, and the crowd was going crazy. And it was a fun match.
Yeah, I'm not ragging on punches or anything. I'm just saying. I was
Yeah, I
saying
feel you.
something. I
You were
kind of lost
saying
my
that,
train of
that
thought.
that you're jealous that Janela has Penelope Ford. I think that's what I heard.
No, but I'll tell you what. Penelope Ford got herself more over in 30 seconds at All In than the likes of Dana Brooke and Alicia Fox ever have. So what does that say?
You don't like Alicia Fox?
No.
Really?
And I'll tell you why. I watched her on Tough Enough. She did a match with I think Mandy Rose, and she just like stiffed the shit out of her with the kick. And I was like, Jesus Christ, you've been wrestling for how many years now? And I guess that's a
If
good
you're,
segue. Go ahead.
yep. No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
you're the
yeah.
host.
Yeah, I think that's a great segue for this Brie Bella controversy that we've been seeing over the last couple weeks. First off, for me this started in the 6-man where she did the two suicide dives, and the first one she got like nothing, and then so she went back in and did it again, and it looked like even worse the second time.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I
Yeah,
chuckled.
and then you had her doing the Daniel Bryan like kicks, which Daniel Bryan does every single week and doesn't really stiff people too bad, to my knowledge. And then she goes and knocks out Liv Morgan with that. It was not pretty. She fell like she fell face first on the mat, and people were pretty outraged. People get outraged for this stuff. Like it was no different when Nia Jax was stiffing. Who she stiffed really bad? Almost hurt. I think she almost hurt Charlotte. When Charlotte was on Raw.
Did you see Daniel Bryan's tweet?
I did. I did see that, and I think he's missing the point.
Well, what do you think he should have said though? I mean, I think he said what he had to say.
I mean, he's just trying to defend his wife, and that's
Absolutely.
fine. That's totally fine. But the larger issue is that Brie Bella's been wrestling for how many years now? 11. And her timing's off. She's knocking people out in the ring. Maybe, scale that back a little bit and maybe get off the road and just try and get that timing back. And I've also heard that Daniel Bryan has trained her in some ways, but I just don't think she's very good. Is that mean? Does that make me bad for saying that? No, I don't think it's a hot take at all. Actually, it's just the truth. I don't know why they're forcing the Bellas back in the ring. I don't think any wrestling fan really cares about them. And our good friend Jenna's Beauty Slam would co-sign that for sure. But they're popular is noted, and I know what they're trying to do. I just don't like it.
Jenna completely roasted the Bellas. She pretty much roasted everybody on that podcast with you.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have her back again at the end of the Mae Young Classic, and we'll do a bit of a retrospective, and I'll release the hounds for sure.
Have you watched any of that?
A little bit.
Yeah, is it good?
Mm-hmm. It's good. Yeah. I don't know why you don't
right.
watch it. I really don't.
Well, I'm busy, you know. I got things to do. There's so much wrestling out there.
Yeah,
I
you
can't
watch
commit
Raw.
myself.
Raw sucks.
Not all the time. Not all the time.
We already established that.
You got Impact. You got SmackDown. Ring
MLW.
of Honor. MLW. I mean, look at all these. It's tough to keep up. Plus, I just spent like 3 months watching as much SmackDown as I could to do all these lists that we've got coming out. There's a lot going on. And I'm not invested in the Mae Young Classic. I don't know who most of these people are, and I don't care. You know, I'm sure like you watch it, they probably explain who they are, but I would need to really set aside some time. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. Now, will I watch Evolution, this big women's pay-per-view? Of course I will, because I know who Trish Stratus is and Lita is, and whoever else they're digging up. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I pretty much have to watch that. Just given how hyped they're making this thing, and everybody's gonna want to watch it. Everybody's gonna want to watch it, and everybody's gonna want to have an opinion of it. So yeah, I will tune in for that for sure.
Now to go back to the Daniel Bryan tweet and your point about are you a bad person for criticizing Brie Bella? No, you are not.
Nope.
And the real issue of all this is, why do so many people care what these people say online? Why does Brie Bella, making tons of money, she's got a family, she's famous, she's rich, she's got her health. Liv Morgan doesn't have her health, but Brie Bella has her health. And why does she care what these people say? Why do people care? And cyberbullying, how about toughen up? People have an opinion. You've decided to become a public figure. You're going to be talked about. You fucked up. This is going to happen. This comes with the territory. I just don't understand why so many people care. It's ridiculous. Is she really sitting at home at night, patting Birdie on the back, crying about what these people say? She shouldn't be. She's Brie Bella.
I gotta say, I can't take Daniel Bryan totally seriously because he named his daughter Birdie, so that disqualifies him from saying a lot of serious things throughout the rest of his life.
Hashtag end cyberbullying is really probably the lamest thing that he's ever done in his life.
I'm just kind of and this is not just in wrestling. This is in life. I'm railing against stupid baby names.
Do you like Monroe Sky?
No.
No, that's like a fancy name, though.
Yeah, but it's got an inanimate object in the name. You can't have that at all. You have to have names.
Like what? Give me a good name for Ms. and Maurice's child.
You could make Monroe the middle name, and then you can make the first name Michelle.
Michelle
Michelle
Monroe.
There you go.
Wow.
We just fixed the Mrs. daughter.
Listen, I'm sure Monroe's gonna, but that's what people do these days, though. They look for the most unique names.
Yeah, but it's fucking stupid. Tell me if I'm wrong.
It's the in thing. Well, I'm not gonna name my child a dumb name, but still.
Just name him Bill or something like that. I don't know.
I think Patrick, a strong Irish name. Patrick.
That's good. I like that. I like the ethnic names.
Yeah, that's because you were raised on Vince Senior.
Ethnic babyface, pal. Oh man. Although some people are starting to name their kids Waluigi, if you could believe it.
What? Now come on, that's ridiculous.
I don't know if I believe that actually. I think I saw that on a meme.
My
but it's kind of
brother
funny to
had
think about.
My brother had a classmate named Batgirl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, okay, maybe that wasn't a lie then. I'm sure that there will be kids named Wario and Waluigi coming up soon. Names which, by the way, are not real names, but made up names by Nintendo so they can create antagonists for their main characters. Yeah, cultural influence is a
Oh,
big thing, which is why I don't like these celebrities naming their children after inanimate objects.
I feel you. You know what? It's not a hot take. It's a very reasonable take.
I remember in Friends where Rachel offers the name Sandrine.
I was never a big Friends guy.
Uh, I feel like you would be. That's weird. Thought you'd get
Yeah.
that reference.
No.
Well,
I know Velveteen Dream.
I know him too, and I
Yeah, but
like
you know him
him.
a lot better than I do.
I'm very big on him. He's I just hope that he doesn't get called up too soon. And I wish they had more of a. I wish they had his booking figured out now for the next year in NXT, and I don't know if that's the case. They just kind of throw him in matches for these takeovers, and he either performs or he doesn't. But he's
I
always in them.
know I know we talked about this last time, but I think a good rule of thumb is that nobody should be called up from NXT. I think they should stay where they are and stay popular and stay relevant and stay interesting and avoid becoming Asuka and the Authors of Pain and the Ascension and Bo Dallas and the icon. I mean, even the Iconics. Listen, Juan Batista made this list of the 10 biggest burials that you gave a thumbs down to, which we have to talk about that. And he put the
Refresh my memory.
Iconics. Well, I don't know. You sent a Batista thumbs down GIF to Juan Batista's list, and he
Right,
had
I remember
people
that.
like
I forget why.
Oscar on there, Iconics, Finn Balor, Braun Strowman, and these were all the biggest burials over the past year. And I agreed with most of them. Like I don't think Strowman's really been buried at all, but I thought the Iconics was an interesting choice because they really just got there and they haven't even really developed. But I guess, I wasn't a diehard NXT person, so I don't really know how well they did back then. But I guess I could see, I mean, they've come up to the main roster and they are kind of annoying. And I know that's what they're supposed to be, they're heels, but I don't know. Audiences don't react to them like I imagine they did in NXT.
I don't like the Iconics anymore.
Is that since they come to the main roster?
No, it's since um, Peyton
Oh
Royce
God, never
insinuated that
mind.
Dave Meltzer called her fat.
Here we go. I shouldn't have brought this one up then.
Yeah.
That's when you
Sorry,
that's when
but
you
they got it wrong.
railed against Renee Young for that.
I did. And I railed against Renee Young in my episode with Troy, too, which didn't see the light of day.
About the same thing, about the
No,
same issue.
no, I don't think she's. I don't, and this might be a hot take, but in time, I don't feel like it will be either. I don't think she's any good at all on commentary, but
Oh my
I think
God.
she's a big step up above from the coach. So I think it's it for a lot of people. It's making it tolerable for now, but there's going to come a time where that wears off, and eventually I think she'll make her move back to the backstage area where I think she's best suited. She's beautiful. She is. She's arguably the most beautiful woman in W that is employed by those three initials. So where do you best make use of that? Backstage interviews, especially when that person's got personality. It doesn't come through on commentary. She just kind of says things sometimes, and her commentary is almost video game like. They're just sound bites.
Well, I do appreciate the sound bites. I think she is refreshing. I think that she's obviously a fan. Like I don't think Coach gave
Yeah,
two
she is.
shits about what was happening, but I know Renee does.
Yeah,
And also I also think that she needs more time. I mean, she didn't really have a lot of time, so I think she'll improve over time. But I don't really have a problem with her at all in commentary. I still prefer her over Byron. I prefer her over I don't know who. I mean, Cole. Cole can get very irritating, but it's not even
Yeah,
Cole's
but
fault, as we
it's not
discussed
Cole's fault.
before.
And Cole,
Right.
when he's at his best, can be still really good.
Right. So I don't know. I think she adds a different perspective. That's what I want. I want a little freshening up in my
Yeah,
in my WWE. Um, I like let's talk about commentators for a second here.
yeah. Let's
Across
do it.
the board right now, I think Don Callis does a good job on Impact. I love Tony and Striker. I know you're a big Matt Striker fan.
Yeah, a lot of people shit on Matt Stryker, and I find that to be pretty unfounded.
Yeah.
Like, did you
He's
see any of the Triple Mania stuff?
no.
Did you see the thing with Vampiro where he's like, "You my fucking
Oh, I
music,"
did. I did. I did.
and Stryker is trying to hilariously like stall for him.
uh,
That's not a Striker though. Vampiro is a black hole. He's like the worst commentator of all time.
well, Striker. I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of people shit on him for the stuff that I like him for. He's completely different than anybody ever has been. He's well educated. He makes these references that are really cool. I don't know, like Mauro Ranallo, I like him, but he makes these references that like my 14-year-old brother will get, whereas Stryker will
Yeah.
make references that a college educated person will understand and appreciate. And he also, I don't know, he tells different stories. I don't know. I'm with you. Striker's one of the best. And who am I? What other? Oh, Ian Riccoboni. Is that am I
Oh
pronouncing
yeah,
that
he
right?
really had a coming out party all in. I thought.
Yeah, he does a fantastic job. So I mean, there is great commentary across the board, and it all comes back to this problem in WWE where it's Vince micromanaging, and a lot of them sound homogenized and just not natural. Like when Matthews and Callis call the action. The only time they don't sound natural is when Matthew says something's trending on Twitter, when that's completely impossible. But other than that, they sound like you and me watching wrestling and talking about it.
Yeah, it's to make another sports analogy. Oftentimes, you'll have a talented guy stuck in a bad situation where the producers or coaches, in this case, are not up to snuff, and they almost regress, even though they're really talented. And that was Josh Matthews for a long time when he came to TNA originally. But when Don Callis got in there with him, I think he really started to round back into form, and I began to take him seriously one more time as a commentator.
Can we talk about? Have you been keeping up with Impact at all? Are you ready for Bound for Glory?
Somewhat, somewhat. I heard Moose turn heel.
Listen. Steven Jackson and I consider us friends, and we have so many different
That's fair.
opinions. It's unbelievable. It really is. He not only did he choose Natalia as his first Raw draft pick, but this guy, this not only does he. What else did he do recently?
There
He's
was
looking
something.
most forward to. Yeah.
There was something that he replied to on Twitter that I wanted to reply back to, and then just got too busy and forgot. But I didn't like it, and I'm gonna find it now.
Not only is he looking forward to Buddy Murphy's match the most, but in addition to all that, he's not feeling Moose's heel turn, which is one of the highlights of Impact. Moose comes out in these ridiculous, colorful outfits. He's just like he's having a good time, and just today, the Impact Wrestling teleconference was on, and it was Moose and Eddie Edwards on at the same time. For the first 5 minutes, Moose was cussing up a storm. He's like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, Eddie," and called him a prick and an ass, and he almost called him a motherfucker. And it was fantastic. It was like, yes, this is what we've been missing. And then Josh Matthews had to really, he like tried to stay in character, but he was like, "Listen, Moose, I'm gonna have to disconnect you if you can't stop the profanity." But
That's awesome.
Moose has, yeah, it was fantastic, and Moose is doing a great job. That whole heel stable. Austin Aries is my pick for Wrestler of the Year right now.
Interesting.
It's a hot take, I know.
Interesting. Did we do awards at the Wrestling Estate last year?
We did, and we might do 2 weeks worth this year. I think I got
Yeah,
more
we should.
categories for it.
We should have an extensive catalog. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But no. Here. I found what angered me. Steven replied to a tweet that said, "Who are some of the more well-liked / regarded wrestling legends who you are not a fan of and or don't get the hype around?" The guy said, "For me, it's Bruiser Brody and Dean Malenko." Then Steven replies, "Jerry Lawler."
Well, what I mean, how the hell would Steven know about Jerry? I mean, how would you know?
Here's what
Do
he
you
said.
think that's yeah?
He said, "I know it's sacrilegious to say that, but I've always found his work dull and his voice annoys me."
Now, why does that anger you?
Yeah, and someone replied to him and said, "As a heel, the annoying voice works." And then Steven replied, "I just found him annoying, period, heel or not. Fair enough, he had some funny moments with Bret Hart in 93 to 95, but doesn't sway it for me." And Steven, I would offer to you to go watch King of Memphis, Jerry Lawler, because that guy was one of the greatest of all time. And
Well, that's
one of the
not.
most influential
Yeah.
of all time, maybe even more so.
But Steven's our age, so I mean, the fact that he's from the UK, he probably hasn't seen Memphis. You can't fault him for that.
Yeah, but that's like the Bret Hart stuff does not even close to define Jerry Lawler's career.
I see what you're saying. He's just basing his opinion off that one little thing.
Yeah, this is '90s Jerry Lawler, like even probably on his like decline, really.
Well, I will say, not that anybody asked, I'm a huge fan of the King, and I like all the stuff. I think I don't know. I mean, later years when he was like a neutered face and just doing the jokes like that, that was kind of lame. That wasn't really
Like when
cool.
he
But
was
like
like in
Attitude
front of
Era,
Vicky Guerrero.
yeah, like that. I mean, wasn't real. I don't know if she was a face and he was a heel, it would probably be different. But it was kind of dorky.
It
But
was.
and now he's getting all this shit. It's crazy. It's unbelievable, really, when you look at people and how the public reacts to them over time. I don't know. For a lot of people, he was beloved in the Attitude Era. Then that passed, and people got very politically correct. And then Lawler was like this terrible person that made sexist jokes. And then he had a heart attack, and everybody loved him. And then he came out as a Trump supporter, and everybody turned on him again. And then in between there, his son died, and there was either silence or love. The people really weren't going to come out and say he's a bad person then. But it's
Right.
crazy the reaction for this man for things that he really that like people I don't know. It's crazy what people judge him for or react to him based on the circumstances.
Yeah, it's BS if you ask me. I love the King. He
Yeah,
yeah, I love him for who he is, and I wouldn't ask him to change for anything.
absolutely. And you know what? These people are going to miss him when he eventually goes.
100%. The King and JR are reuniting on the Jericho cruise.
Did you decide whether you're going?
Yeah, I can't go.
No.
No, we had a home game rescheduled for Halloween, so I think the cruise is actually over Halloween, or I would get back that day. But either way, I also couldn't really find anyone to go with me. I thought Yale Alpert would be a good pick with him already living in Orlando, but he didn't want to pay the price. And
Now the price is expensive, right?
it kind of. I mean, it's about. I think it would be like 800 or 900 a person. If you wanted one of the cheaper rooms, but it is expenses paid, and they pay for a lot of expenses, right? Rock concerts, food, wrestling podcasts, wrestling events, dream matches. The only thing that it doesn't pay for is like alcohol and gambling.
Well, alcohol
But
is a big part.
well, yeah,
I mean, that's kind of a deal breaker. I think. What, are you
Yeah,
going to be sober with all these people?
but all you can drink on an entire cruise, man, at sea, that's dangerous.
But isn't that? But
People are
that's
gonna
what a
get
lot of
hurt.
cruises offer.
Really?
A lot of
Maybe it did
yeah,
offer
yeah.
alcohol. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it was just gambling. I forget.
Well, I
But
was
no,
I was thinking a lot about it, and I don't think you'd have a good time with these fans on this cruise.
me?
Yeah, you have a different opinion than most of the people that are going on this particular thing.
What, do you think he was gonna be like Joey Ryan dick people?
It definitely is going to be Joey Ryan Dick people for
Dick
sure.
people. Dick people. Uh, but Joey Ryan's not on the cruise.
Yeah, but yet his ilk will be there setting sail.
I'll have to throw him overboard.
Like I doubt there's many Jim Cornette fans going on the Jericho cruise. We
Why,
should we
why
should put
not?
that up.
Jericho loves Jim Cornette.
I'm gonna put that up on the Twitter. We'll do a poll and we'll see. We'll say, do you like Jim Cornette and are you going on the Jericho cruise?
Yeah, that's
We'll
good.
see
That's
what
good. I
they
like that.
say. I think those are the two tent poles.
No, Jericho. I mean, Cornette gave Jericho his start.
I know, but I mean, a lot of these people aren't going for Jericho. They're going for the Young Bucks and the Ring of Honor type crowd, and you know.
See, I would be going for one just to say I went because it is the
Yeah.
first ever wrestling cruise, and that's really special. Two, I'd be going for Jericho. Three, I'd be going for the Alpha Omega rematch. Four, the music and comedy sounds great too, and then all the different podcasts and panels and stuff they're gonna do would be awesome. I think.
See, I think the podcast and the panels and all that is all passe. I think that I'm all tapped out on all these like the Starcast stuff. I'm all tapped out.
Well, that's fine, but like I'm someone that can sit on the couch, right, and take as much away, entertainment wise, from a shoot interview as I would from a mediocre wrestling show.
I see what you mean.
I like stories,
Well,
man.
but here's the other thing, like Bruce and Conrad's show. I don't understand the appeal of going to see it live. Like what would be the appeal when you can just listen to it every week for free on your thing?
I understand that. Now I did go to that live last year, and I went alone, and I had a lot of fun.
Can
I don't know.
you share some details of the live show
Yeah,
experience?
I can. Here's what happened. It was Bruce Conrad, Will Sasso, the comedian that does Stone Cold impressions and stuff, and
Yeah.
then they also had X Pac in the house and
Okay.
Chavo Guerrero, and they told some interesting stories. Everybody kept asking Bruce about Katie Vick for some reason, and that's just one that I don't really care about. But other than that, it was pretty much the podcast, except it was like freeform, almost like one of the Love to Know episodes. But then they have guests come up and they tell like special anecdotes. It's a shame that I forgot the great story that Chavo told already. But I did get a picture with him after the show. That was cool.
Was the picture included or was that an extra cost?
No, it wasn't an extra cost at all. He was just hanging out as people
Really?
were leaving. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a good deal then.
Yeah, I was like, hey, Chavo, big fan. You and Eddie were my favorite wrestlers. Take a picture. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how short he was in person, though. I think I might be taller than him. He might be shoot 5'8".
So like when you said free form, it's like love to. So is it just like the audience asking questions?
For about half the time. Then the other half
Yeah.
is that Bruce having guests up there and the people calling stuff out to them and them being funny.
I got you.
It's fun, honestly. It's fun, like to take it in with a bunch of people. There's something to that.
Well, I'm glad I got the idea because they never really talk about it on the podcast, so I never knew what to make of it, and I never even really looked on Twitter to see people's reactions to it.
They
But
talk about it more now. Like now they'll tell you who the
yeah,
guests were and They just had a Jibble on.
Who's Jibble?
So JBL.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but I remember from the Simon Dean shoot. No, the Simon Dean RF video shoot, 2-parter. Simon's talking about JBL's bullying, and he calls him Jibble throughout because that's what they would call him when he got like really drunk at night.
Jibble.
Jibble.
I like that. I like that, Maggle.
I like it, Maggle.
Night on Friday night.
Was that Jim Ross?
No, that was JBL.
That sounded like JR for a minute there.
That's JBL, man. Every when I went back to watch the SmackDowns, I was thinking about it. As soon as they went to Fridays, we were heading into like 7th or 8th grade. And I think it was just, I know I didn't watch a good chunk of SmackDown until probably college again, if that.
Well, I wasn't allowed to stay up till 10 on most Thursdays unless there was a really good match in the main event or something like that. And then I'd like beg my parents and they'd let me stay up. I definitely couldn't stay up till 11 on Mondays though. And so when it got moved to Friday, I was thrilled because I could then watch the whole show.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I remember staying up to 11 on Mondays was like a huge no-no until like a long time.
Yeah.
That was cool. That's kind of what made it fun. Like wrestling's on late. You gotta, I don't know. There was some intrigue to that as a child.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. And
kids,
there was intrigue
kids these days. Yeah.
Staying up late was intriguing to me for a long time. And by the time I was got to the end of high school, my mom was pretty much just like at that point, you can just go to bed whenever, but it's on you if you stay up too late and have to go to school and are tired. So I would actually stay up and I'd watch all the late night shows and I'd watch The Real World on MTV and I'd go through that whole rigmarole. And it was a lot of fun for a while. And now it's just like normal. It's not fun and it's not like painful. I don't know.
That's becoming an adult. Look at you. Good Willie grown up.
Look at me. Hey, as we were talking about Jim Cornette a little bit earlier. One thing that I do need to get off my chest, and I don't think I've ever told you, is one of the people I hate the most in pro wrestling is someone very close to Jim Cornette.
I will guess. Who is close to Jim Cornette? That guy that does the podcast with him?
No, I like the great Brian Last.
The great Brian. I don't know. Who do you hate?
Kenny Bolin.
Kenny Bull. Oh, the Star Maker.
Star Maker. I hate that guy.
I feel like a lot of people don't even know who he is, though.
Well, that's the thing. He goes around talking like he's this big deal, and then he's got all these people that he pays to like comment on his Facebook stuff, say, "Ooh, Kenny, you're awesome," and on YouTube, and they just think he's the biggest riot in the world. When in reality, he's just a fat like piece of shit mooch. And I think he and Jim had a falling out, and Jim was like trying to repair that relationship, but I was just like, well, it's about time. Because that guy's just all that guy's ever done is riding people's coattails. He was okay in OVW, but you're not going to put that guy on TV looking like that. Come on.
That's true. You can't be fat. You can't be old. There's a lot of things you can't be if you're going to go on McMahon's television. Yeah, but the thing is, like, Paul Bearer was like fat, right? But at the same time, he was like a character. Kenny Bolin has looked like he's been 60 years old for like the last 40 years. There's people like that, and now he just looks like a worm, I don't know. And when Cornette went on Jericho's podcast over the summer, taped from WrestleMania season of, I think this year, maybe, but Kenny Bolin, he's just like trying to talk the whole time, trying to like steal the thunder, and it's like no one gives a fuck about that guy. And he was doing a GoFundMe and try to raise money for his quote unquote medical expenses, aka his future heart attack fund. And Simon Dean came out and said, I'm not going to donate to that.
And then Kenny went off on Simon and said that he was going to sick his son on him or something like that. Just really like dumb stuff. What a fucking moron.
You're starting to get like Evan.
Yeah, I don't know. But no, I don't like Kenny Bull, and I just find him completely detestable. A lot of people don't even know who he is, and I wish they would keep it that way.
Well, stop giving him all this free publicity. All of our goddamn listeners, they don't need to know.
Unlike Jim Cornette and Vince Russo, I'm never going to talk about this again. I just need to say it. I feel better now.
Have you forgiven Russo yet? Do you find him charming, enchanting, entertaining?
Why would I? Why would you? Why would I? What's changed?
I don't know. I told you before I find him entertaining.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with Vinny Rue.
Vinny Rue. I remember on the guest booker episode, one of the first Jim Cornette appearances with kayfabe commentaries. It was well known that he had heat with Vince Russo, and it was at around this time that Jeff Jarrett made them shake hands in TNA, and then Cornette does this show, and he's like, "Oh, I love Vinny Rue. We're getting along." but he unleashed on John Laurinaitis in that episode.
Speaking of Jeff Jarrett, what do you make of the NWA trying to make a comeback here?
Love it. The best part of All In was Cody winning the title. And go ahead.
Well, I agree, but I think they're going to the well once too often. They've got this anniversary show coming up, and it's the rematch, which, yes, I know by tradition the champion gets a rematch if he loses the title. But nobody gives a fuck about a second match. The story's over. It's done. It was one of the rare feel-good stories, done well, done right. And now we're going back to this, and I can't imagine anybody giving a shit about it.
But Sean, he's got to defend the belt.
Defend it against somebody else.
Well, he defended against somebody else next.
Yeah, but at this big anniversary, if the NWA is going to make this big comeback, and this is the 70th anniversary show, they've got Jarrett coming in.
I understand.
I
know what it's like with the underwhelming main events. The UFC just did it at Madison Square Garden. They got Nate Diaz on that show in the co-main, and the whole time they're like, "We're going to find a main event." And the main event they come up with is Valentina Shevchenko versus Ciara Eubanks, and people barely know who Shevchenko is. Point being,
I don't know who any of these people are.
Well, I know that's what I'm saying. Point being, I understand that. But I like the NWA sticking to tradition. I like everything that Billy Corgan and Dave Lagana have done with it so far. I think it was a novel concept of putting the belt on Cody at All In. I think that match should have main evented the whole show.
Well, I agree with you, and I thought for sure Aldis was going to retain when it didn't main event. But looking back on it, I think everyone's realized this idea of either A, burning out the crowd, or B, running out of time. So it was probably good. They did it when they could. They could tell the full story. And also you have to factor in, I don't know, following Rey Mysterio and the Young Bucks and Phoenix, that's a tough, and Ibushi, that's a tough task. I mean, you go back and watch some of these SmackDowns. Rey Mysterio, he's not number one on my list of SmackDown people, but he's probably the unheralded MVP of the show. This guy had amazing matches with so many people for so many years, and he's really an incredible performer. I know it seems like we all know this, but I feel like people forget it.
They do, and a lot of it, I think, is him being out of WWE for so long. But he's actually kept himself in pretty good shape, and he's still putting on great matches, even well past his prime, which was those SmackDown years where, like you said, he worked with everybody. He did everything they asked him to do, and then some. And it was all great, from the Kurt Angle match, where he debuted at SummerSlam on the stuff with Eddie. Working with Batista, he did a great job with that, the Matt Hardy stuff around the time of WrestleMania 19. Chavo, I can go on and on. Oh yeah, winning the world title, and then only to be, not ever taken seriously as champion by the company that put the belt on him, which was only a publicity stunt, because he was friends with Eddie. I didn't
Well,
like
that's
that.
that's what I didn't like that either. I was just gonna say I didn't care for that at all. I didn't even care that he won. I thought number one when they were playing off the Eddie thing was terrible. When Randy Orton told him he's gonna go to hell like Eddie or something like that, that was really tasteless. I didn't like how Ray won it. It was a triple threat when it should have been a one-on-one big build-up. It was like a 9-minute triple threat on WrestleMania.
I think looking back on that match, because that was a match that I, as a kid, cared a lot about. Being a big fan of Eddie Guerrero, and I really wanted to see Rey Mysterio win the belt. So I was exactly the person they were playing to in that storyline. I just think they did the storyline all wrong. I think Ray winning the Rumble was the right way to go. I think taking it away from him was the wrong way to go. I think it should have been Randy Orton that would get inserted into the match. I just thought it was an unnecessary thing that Orton beat him at No Way Out. And then the match itself got crunched for time. And even still, the match was very good. It could have been an all-time classic if it had gotten another 10 minutes or so.
I mean, you look at that card. That card is pretty shit. Other than Edge
I
and
have a soft spot
Foley
for that one.
for 22.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to explain that.
Was
Other than
that
Edge and Foley,
it was
what else you got? H and Cena,
yeah. I was into
Mark
that
Henry
match
and The
too.
Undertaker.
Yeah.
You weren't
Edge
into
and
that. You
Edge
can't.
and
You
Foley
can't
was
even say
awesome.
you were in that.
It was better than WrestleMania 27.
No, it wasn't. Wait,
WrestleMania
WrestleMania
20,
22 was better than WrestleMania 27? Oh, wait,
yeah.
when's 27? I'm thinking of 23. Never
27
mind.
27 is um
Cena, Miz.
yeah.
Never. You're right. Yeah, that was
And you
better.
weren't thinking of, you were still thinking of 22. 23 was Cena Michaels.
No, no, I've seen H though was 22.
Yeah, but you said you were thinking of 23.
I meant, well, I thought you meant WrestleMania 22 was better than WrestleMania 23.
Oh. I think 23 was better.
Yeah,
But I still have a soft
that's just.
spot for 22. That's all I'm saying. Let's see here. You had Big Show and Kane versus Carlito and Chris Masters.
Let me correct myself. The best part of WrestleMania 22 was Mickey James versus Trish Stratus, and
Yeah, that
Mickey
was a great match.
licking her puss.
Yeah, I mean that was like people still talk about that match.
Yeah,
You had JBL versus Benoit, which
probably a dud.
I probably could have thought of multiple ways to better use those guys. You had RVD winning Money in the Bank, very good match.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
You had Undertaker Henry, which wasn't a very good match, but you did have the Undertaker kilo over the top rope where he almost killed himself on the casket, and then you had the triple threat. You had the Playboy pillow fight, which I don't remember, and oh yeah, Shawn Michaels and Mr. McMahon, no holds barred.
I didn't care for that.
That was okay. That was better than Shawn Michaels versus Shawn Michaels tag team with God at Backlash.
Oh, come on now, our Lord and Savior. That was fantastic.
It
Listen,
was.
God was a more believable wrestler than Kenny Omega.
Oof.
That
I
might be
mean,
the headline for this podcast.
when you say God, are you talking about AJ Styles?
Good old AJ he had a trespasser the other day.
Oh really? What happened?
Samoa Joe went to his house in
Oh yeah,
in
yeah. I thought
in
you meant I
Georgia.
thought you meant like in real life.
Well, I'm thinking it's still real to me. Damn it. So yeah.
Yeah, they really try to recreate Pillman's Got a Gun, or except without the gun part,
Without the best part.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think of Pillman Jr.?
I like him. I didn't. I don't think I've actually. You know, I have. I have seen him wrestle, but I liked MLW playing it out. Where I don't know, like I like the evolution of where it's going. They move quick too in MLW. All their angles and storylines don't take a lot of time, which I'm not like so keen on. But that's a good thing. Whereas WWE, you have this Sasha Bailey thing going on for years and years. But I like Pillman Jr. and I like his alliance with the new Hart Foundation, the new with Davey Boy's son and Teddy Hart.
You mean Harry Smith?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, actually, um, I don't know what you would want to call David Boy's son, whether it's David Boy Smith Jr. or David Hart's. I keep going back to David Hart Smith. Um, yeah, I think he was a tag team with Teddy Hart way back in the day. And then he was also a tag team with T.J. Wilson, who became Tyson Kidd.
Yeah.
I don't know, whenever I go back and do like old TNA in Extreme Warfare Revenge, which is like a pro wrestling like booking game, I always make sure to sign DH Smith and Teddy Hart, and I put them in Team Canada.
I like that. That would have been really cool.
Yeah, it would have. You know, two young guns, and then you can do a lot with that. You really could.
The Team Canada in Impact, that was awesome. I mean,
It
that was a
was. I
great
love Team
stable.
Canada.
Yeah, I mean, they should induct them maybe into the Hall of Fame, do a reunion or something one day. That was a really cool hot shot Johnny Devine and Bobby. Who would have thought Bobby Roode would go on to be like probably the biggest name of that crew?
Well, after Team Canada disbanded, they put Rude over as the biggest free agent in wrestling, and then he entered into the arrangement with Miss Brooks.
Yeah, that's true.
So by the time it was done, he kind of raised his stock quite a bit. No, I was a big fan of Team Canada too, so much so that one of my fantasy football team names in the league with my friends is Team Canada.
I like that. You
And
should
they
give
asked me,
Scott Demore a shout out.
I should. They asked me why, and I said, well, it's an inside joke with myself. Because if I were
I
to
don't know.
explain to them, they would never
Maybe it would have
understand.
fitted on the Jericho cruise.
Perhaps. Perhaps.
Oh man. You have
Yeah.
any
So,
predictions for Bound for Glory? I feel like
um,
that's the biggest thing happening because nobody cares about Super Showdown. MLW already did War Games. How about did you see Gibbs' interview with Selena?
which one? I've
Either
seen them both.
either works. What'd you think?
Um, it was great.
Oh
Fantastic
shit.
stuff.
Oh, there you go. All right. You were hesitant there. I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought Gibbs was going to have to throw
No,
a left hook real quick.
why would I not have liked that? It was, Gib does a good job, and then they did like an in character interview as well. I'm curious as to how that works with interviewers and wrestlers. Like, do they get in touch and do they work it out beforehand, or does Gib just like ask questions and then she's just like giving these in character answers, and then everybody's confused.
I've had it work both ways. One time, this is kind of a fun story. Back in
Great,
Temple, I had my partner James Seltzer, who you can hear on 97.5, I think most weeknights. We had a
seltzer
Temple
water.
radio show. Yeah, yeah. We had a Temple radio show, and it was like a talk show. So I tried to get as much wrestling on there as possible. And because we were a college station, for some reason, it was much easier to get wrestlers and to get people to do it. I guess they felt like a pity on us, or I don't know. But like I was able to get Coach to come on while he was working at ESPN. I got Matt Hardy. We got George the Animal Steel, kind of right before he passed away. We had a lot of cool people.
Nice,
So we Shane Douglas was trying to resurrect another ECW company, and I reached out to him to get somebody to come on. It might have been him or it might have been some. Oh, it was Rhino. I reached out to him to get Rhino to come on to the show, just to call in 10 minutes, like whatever. Shane sets it up. Everything's cool. Uh, we're gonna kick off the show with it because I don't want people waiting around or anything. Rhino's not there. No answer. I keep going to Rhino. You can hear like his voicemail over the radio show. No, nothing's happening. So
Yeah.
I was pissed. I'm like, what the hell? Like, it was probably I think it was the first time somebody stood us up. And Shane had been so cool about it that I couldn't understand and I was like, well, Rhino's not a dick, is he? Like, why would he do this to us? So right after I get a hold of Shane, he feels real bad, blah blah blah. He invited me to the event, and he said I could be backstage and interview whoever I wanted all day until the show. And it was like a huge deal. I was like, wow, this is so cool. So I was working at the time, and I was had the overnight shift. So I would go in on a Friday at like 11 p.m. and work till 7 a.m. Saturday, and I was supposed to be at the wrestling show at 9 a.m. So I was getting no sleep going right there. And I go up there. It was at the Pennsylvania National Guard Armory, and it was like all the old ECW guys. You had Blue Meanie, Jerry Lynn, Al Snow, New Jack. I talked to New Jack. I was scared to death because I don't know what the fuck he's gonna do. Um, Rhino actually did talk to. And I don't even know if we did talk to Rhino. Whatever. Where this story, the whole reason I'm telling you this is I come to talk to Nunzio, little Guido, as some may know him.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm doing video, so I got somebody recording it. And before we do it, he says to me, "Is this a shoot or a work?" And I'm just sitting there like, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to tell this guy. All the other ones, so I mean, we're mostly shoot. I'm not asking scathing questions. It's just a little thing. And I thought it was cool that a wrestler would ask me. I felt like I was in the business right there. I was like, oh my god, I don't know what the fuck to tell him. So I just said, oh, you can do whatever you want. And he said, all right, we'll do a work. So I was like, how do you feel about facing so and so tonight? How do you feel about being back in Philly? Blah blah blah. And he just went right into character. Just really cool. And I thought that was so cool. Now, uh, another time. Now, I also don't want to ruin. I kind of feel like I'm going to be like killing Santa Claus for some people, but not recent. Well, somewhat recently, I had the chance to interview MJF, who, as you probably know,
I
is like
heard.
a
I heard
hundred
the Austin
percent
episode. I
right.
heard the whole thing. It was great.
So he's pretty dedicated to the character.
Yeah.
So before he said, "Is this recorded or written?" I said, "Well, I'm going to record it and maybe I'll air it. But I record everything that I'm going to write." He said, "Okay, I just want to know." And so 'cause he's like, "Just want to know, man, or whatever." So just to let you know, now I'm going to become a dick. And he went in the character like it was nothing, and it was so cool. And then when I told him I stopped recording, he came back to earth and was a gentleman and cool and appreciative. And it was just really cool. I don't know, like to see some of these people. And for me, it's more fun when they're in character. Like the Gibb interview with Selena, I thought was just fun stuff. I don't know. I enjoy that. But I can also see where like some of these wrestlers, they don't have good characters, so it's probably more interesting to talk to the real them. So I can see it. I've had it go both ways, and it just always fascinates me that in their mind they have to determine how am I going to be? How am I going to sell this?
Totally. And the Selena interview was really interesting because apparently she got into wrestling because of it's kind of like goes back to what we said about the Bella's carbon footprint on wrestling. She got into wrestling because of Total Divas, and basically it was her mom saying, "Oh, you could do that better than them," and so she did. But in doing so, she became one of the most compelling characters on the independent scene in no time flat, and at her tender age.
Absolutely. I think, we may shit on Total Bellas and all that, but you can't deny its impact on. I mean, I know people that I have hung out with before Total Bellas who were girls who had no interest in wrestling, who are now fans that buy tickets to go to the show, that subscribe to the network, all because they got hooked because of Total. You just can't deny the impact that it's had, even though, we might not like. I don't know. I mean, let's be honest. The Bellas would never be pushed anymore if that show still wasn't on the air. So that is a detriment because now we have to deal with that, and poor Liv Morgan can't see straight. But other than that, I think it's had a good impact.
Yeah, no, I guess. I mean, it's another show for people, like, at least get a look at what wrestling is and what it's more importantly, I guess, what it's not, right?
Well, I
Because
mean, that's been how WWE became successful. Is they went for those non-fans, casual people, and lured them in. And you got to go through different avenues to do that. I think a lot of times these other companies just don't do that. They just cater to hardcore fans. And yeah, there's an audience for that. But if you want to grow a business, you have to reach out through other ways, and it's obviously worked. I mean, the proof is there. I mean, Total Bells does great ratings. Obviously, it's been on these all this many seasons. There's probably many more women that go to WWE shows that actually care about it now. So I think overall, I mean, it's just the name of the game is to grow your business. You need more eyeballs, and this is a way to do it.
not to cause a abrupt segue, but something that we have not talked about that was actually just brought to my attention now. I haven't been on any wrestling media all day, but Neville is back. You see this?
I saw, but he's in England, right?
Um, he appeared in Dragon Gate.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, he's back wrestling again, I guess. He looks a little leaner than he was, but still jacked as ever.
Well, listen, man, he's up for the taking. Whoever wants. I mean, he's I don't know. I would consider him the hottest free agent right now. I'd sign him. I mean, even if he doesn't have too much, casual name drawing power, he's guaranteed to give you great matches. He's a dedicated good. I mean, he's never. I don't know. I'd sign him. Impact, MLW, whoever wants him, they should get him. ROH even.
Yeah, open the wallet. He really found himself in that cruiserweight division, I think, and now he can become a name that the casual fans can recognize because now, there's been a blueprint created for how an independent wrestler can do just that. And with him being as talented as he is, the sky's really the limit.
Where would you like to see him go?
Um, everyone like the easy answer would be like New Japan because like that's where all the international wrestlers go that have any talent. But I would say Impact or MLW.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to see him in there with guys like Moose and guys like Eddie Edwards and just stuff that is going to be a little less conventional.
I think ROH could use him the most though.
Yes, they can. I've said for a long time that ROH has a bit of a problem when it comes
Yeah.
to non New Japan likeness owned talent.
It's evident. Did you see? Oh, you might not have seen. Everybody was disappointed with the attendance of their last pay per view. It was like It was like last Friday or whatever.
No, but that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
There's some like for like about a 5 or 6 year period, guys would come up in Ring of Honor, and then guys would come up behind them, and then guys would come up behind those guys, and then the top guys would go to WWE, or TNA in the case of Desmond Wolfe, but then the next guys would come up then, and it would just keep going like this. But then one day that just kind of all stopped, and what you could point to is right around the time that they began that New Japan working relationship, they kind of stopped developing talent. Like, I would say Adam Page was like the last homegrown, real Ring of Honor talent, and then New Japan just took him, and now he's a New Japan guy. Same with Michael Elgin. They're not like,
Well,
but they were Ring of Honor
yeah,
guys, but I don't see them that
right.
way now.
Well, I think the next one you could argue is Punishment Martinez, who has
Oh,
apparently
I do like
left
him.
and he's gone now to NXT.
Oh, really?
And yeah, which is great for him, but I think a big loss for ROH.
Well, that
Like,
just further reinforces my argument because I was just starting to get into him.
yeah, I mean, I thought he was great. I thought he was what everything Baron Corbin is supposed to be, but he's even better.
I feel like that's Drew McIntyre.
I could see that. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, I
That
don't know. To me, that's an insult to Drew McIntyre because I think I don't even consider him in Baron Corbin's league.
well, what I mean by that is, they want a guy that height to be in a top spot. Drew McIntyre is Baron Corbin's frame, except maxed out from a physique standpoint. He's several times over a better, worker in the ring, better talker, more confident guy in his character, and it's just really the total package.
I
But
agree.
thankfully, I feel like they have seen the light on him, and he could be a candidate to win the Royal Rumble.
I would, if this was like 10 years ago, I'd say no way because I can't see him making that jump. But now that the Rumble has been so diluted and it really doesn't matter because they're not really gonna main event WrestleMania and they don't make that star making moment anymore. They've done it with Roman for 5 times. Yeah, I mean really anybody could win. I think Santino could come back and win, really, at this point.
Well, I feel like that's a little harsh. They have diluted it, but it just goes back to lying to the fans. Winner gets a main event WrestleMania, but not really because Roman Reigns is going to take that spot anyways.
I think that I mean, and even if you say, well, it doesn't matter who main events, still, if you win the Rumble, it's supposed to be this crowning achievement or something else. I mean, look at Nakamura. If let's say he didn't turn heel, okay, then that was a bust. I mean, and some even argue that the heel turn didn't save him, that he's still a bust. He's only the U.S. champ. He doesn't wrestle that much, whatever. Um, who won it the year before him? I don't even remember anymore.
I don't know. Was it Roman
That's bad that
Reigns?
we don't know. Was it Reigns? It was Orton,
All right, that
a
was a
guy that
bust
didn't
too.
need it. Yeah, the year before that was for the title. H won it, which I mean, I don't know that that's like an anomaly. That doesn't really count. Um, the year before that, 2015 was
That
Reigns.
was Reigns, yeah.
2014 was it was Batista,
It was
right?
Batista, and
Who
2013
didn't need
was
it,
Del Rio in the 40 man.
right? And even Del Rio didn't get his moment at Mania.
Yeah,
So that's a long time. I mean, that's like what 7 years? How I don't know, 5 years,
6.
12, or the one before that was Sheamus, who squashed Debray in the opening of WrestleMania 28.
Yeah, not only was the Rumble winner like not in the main event of WrestleMania, he was in the curtain jerker and got
Yeah,
less than a minute.
and it didn't help him at all. It helped Debray losing in defeat somehow helped Debray or winning in defeat, whatever the hell it was. And then I don't know. I just feel like the Rumble really has not been at all what it's supposed to be for you. You know what? I got to correct you. 2013 was Cena. 2011 was Del Rio.
Is that long ago?
Yeah, and so
Who was
then you
2012?
2012 was Sheamus.
Okay.
So we're looking at a solid. I mean, that's what 10 years almost
Yeah.
of like no of like not what it used to be. It's not Austin wins the Rumble beats Michaels. It's not Michaels wins the Rumble, beats Hart. It's not none of those ones that like they all talk about. They build these moments up and everything, and they haven't had any of that in quite a long time.
What a pity.
I'm telling you.
What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, did you see Del Rio? He commented on Paige on Instagram.
Very tasteless.
100%. Like that dude.
I mean, like, why even say it? You know?
Yeah. Alberto Del Dickhead. Like what can you really say?
I feel
Um,
like he's just burned every bridge, man.
he has. It's too bad because he's good, but thank God that Andrade Cien Almas has come along because otherwise he might be a candidate to get re-signed. Now I don't
That's
really
true.
see that.
No, and Elvis is good. I like Elvis.
Love Almas. I
Yeah.
wish they'd sign Rush too from AAA. Do you know who Rush is?
No.
He's one of the top heels the Rudos in AAA and has been for a long time. He's similar to Almas where he like they kind of came up together. They might even be related. They might be cousins. Um, but Rush is one of these heels that will do anything to get a heel pop. Um, One time I saw him come out to Chris Benoit's music.
Oh my god.
I should send you the link to that. Really, it cracks me up. It's almost like something out of Fever Dream because in Mexico, they've got the dancing girls, like the Nitro girls. So you got this girl like dancing in a stripper cage to Chris Benoit's "Whatever" by
Oh
Our Lady
my
Peace,
god.
and I was just like, Jesus Christ! And
That's
then
insane.
he ran straight into the ring, and no, he got in the ring, and then the next guy made his entrance. And then he just attacked him before he could make it to the ring.
Yeah, I'll have to
That
check him out. I like that stuff.
Yeah, I like him. I think he can be big. I don't know how good his English is, but he already doesn't have the mask, so that's a plus. He's good with facials, good
Yeah.
physique. He's good. Um, yeah, I was surprised he hasn't gone over yet.
Learning a
Um,
lot about the Mexican scene these days with how much Impact gives them coverage, MLW, and I don't know. I feel like right now is I guess it's just a digital age. We're all more connected, but it is cool. I mean, you're seeing a lot of more Japanese people in front of an American audience, a lot more Mexican wrestlers, American audience. I guess with the amount of people we follow on Twitter, I see a lot about like the English scene. It's pretty interesting.
it's great. The world is now the territories, right? Now the entire
Yeah.
country is a territory versus just regions before. It's kind of nice, and there's talent to be had all around. Like you could honestly, and that's why I think if we have this draft at the end of the year, that would be very interesting just to see how we all kind of construct our different rosters because there is so much talent that from rounds 1 through 10 you can't really lose. It just depends on how you kind of see pro wrestling.
Well, obviously Natalia's going number one.
Yeah. Yeah, well, she's off my board. I just couldn't justify putting her on, knowing that Steve was just going to take her anyway. I was thinking about second round though, but that's
Yeah,
out
were
the
you?
window.
That's a shame.
I mean, just kidding. I wasn't. I wasn't really. Sorry, Natalia, but come on.
I'm gonna one day me and Team Left Jab are gonna do a draft based on like 85. And like I'll take a side, he'll take a side, and we would draft the talent roster of that era.
As in 1985.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be cool too. Like scenarios.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Do like like an Attitude Era one, Nitro. I don't know, Nitro one. There's so much you can do with it that people really haven't done, and the draft is such a fun concept.
Yeah, no, I love it. And the truth is, how interesting would it be if you would take WWE, just dissolve it, and then take all those wrestlers, in addition to all the rest of the independent contract wrestlers in the world, and just file them in to like 10 different companies.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
That's kind of what the concept would be here
We
behind a
just have
draft
to
like that.
figure out how to logistically do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it can be done. I would worry about everybody talking over everyone else. Um, I would maybe, I don't know, look into like a moderator or something like that. I don't know.
Is
It
there a
would, it would,
limit to how many people can get on Google Hangouts at once?
I don't know, but I can find out. We have
Obviously,
time though. This would be an end of the
yeah.
year special. I'm thinking.
Even organizing everybody's time to do this would be a challenge.
Yeah, especially with Steven, living, halfway across the world.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. Chris Jericho rumored to be set for Impact debut.
Yeah, at Bound for Glory, which is half the reason I'm buying it, or I bought a ticket to it.
Oh, you're going?
I'm going. I'm doing the
Where's
whole VIP package
Sweet? Where's the show?
at the Melrose Ballroom in New York.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't have to do a
Nice.
hotel. I don't have to pay for transportation or anything.
You're just gonna drive and go?
Drive and go, and I'm doing the tapings too.
What tapings?
They're doing a set of tapings the Monday and Tuesday after it. Impact.
Oh, okay. So you're just gonna like go back and forth between those?
Yeah, that's all. It's
Okay.
only like 90 minutes. Yeah, much
Gotcha.
more affordable than the usual WrestleMania trip.
Is it really 90 minutes from Philly to New York?
I mean, by when the time I'll be
I
driving,
can't
I'll
believe
be
that.
driving either late at night or like 10 a.m. There's like no real traffic during that.
That's a good point. I just did an overnight trip to Vegas, and we drove through the night, and it took us 3.5 hours to get there from LA flat, right on the nose.
Is that good or bad?
No traffic. That's good.
That's good.
Yeah, I think it's good anyway.
Well, I don't know geographically how far they are or anything.
Well, with traffic, you're looking at more of a 5 or 5.5 hour trip, especially if you choose to
Okay.
stop. Um, 3.5, is actually really doable. It's actually kind of crazy how close I am to that.
That is cool.
Yeah.
We'll have to all go to Vegas. We'll have an NWA convention in Vegas.
No, well, yeah, or go for a cauliflower alley or something like that.
That would be cool. I've always wanted to do that.
That would be cool. Actually, here's speaking of wrestling in Vegas. I've always thought that there is room for an independent promotion that ran exclusively Paradise, Nevada, which is basically Las Vegas, and basically you would have a circuit of different wrestling events around the town at different like casinos and event centers and stuff like that. So I would call it the World Series of Wrestling, and basically you would contract independent talent like Pillman Jr. And Rush from Mexico. Maybe you would get like a I don't know what his contract is like with NJPW, but maybe a say a Sonata or someone like that, and then add a bunch of other like add like a small handful of really big independent names, and then just have a very much unknown roster that can kind of try and get over organically with the big names to rub off of, and then just kind of have one title that they're chasing called the King of the Strip, which is like which kind of has like a Ric Flair title appeal to it. The guy, walks around the strip in character with the belt, and I don't know. I think it'd be a cool opportunity, and just a different way to kind of do wrestling, in my opinion.
I love the idea, and I think going to Vegas to do wrestling sounds like season 3 of Glow on Netflix.
And plus, it becomes a tourist attraction then. So you're always going to get people coming in and out to see it. It's kind of like Impact and Universal Studios.
Yeah, always a fresh audience. I mean, and for wrestling fans, they would go out to see it.
Yeah, I mean, wrestling fans are always in Las Vegas. You see it all the time.
Yeah.
I was actually just at a Dodgers game, and they put a guy on the jumbotron, and he was wearing a Los Ingobernables de Japón shirt. I swear to God, what an obscure shirt to wear at an American baseball game.
You'll see him on the cruise.
No, I won't. I wish.
I think we
Uh,
should do a GoFundMe to get you on the cruise.
you know what? I wish we would have thought of that 6 months ago. I would have been totally down. Maybe for Jericho Cruise too.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll do another
What
if this goes well.
what about like a Starcast and All In? Would you go to that next year if they did it?
No, not that. No, I would
Yeah.
go to
See,
WrestleMania
I feel
weekend.
the same way. Yeah.
But if I did, we talked about this. If I do that, do if I went to New York for WrestleMania this year, I would not go to WrestleMania itself. I would instead go for the weekends. I would go to drink with wrestling fans and then go to Raw the next day.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I mean, I would go
I
like
think that would
this
be a
year. I don't think
blast.
it would be. It would be. I mean, but that's the whole thing. We did talk about this where it's like WrestleMania has to be in a good location. Like my friends and I have been going for a lot of years, but like if it's in New York, it defeats the purpose. This is our vacation. We like to go somewhere. New Orleans is the best spot for it. Miami was a good spot. Orlando was a good spot. But like New York, the Meadowlands, it's just like driving up 95. You're sitting in the parking lot for an hour afterwards. It loses a lot of its appeal. Plus, Mania itself being 7 hours is not fun. I'd rather sit at home watching it with everybody with beer and snacks for what, $10. And I don't know. I just think that this year it lost a lot of its appeal, whereas the other shows around it, like not the Penis Party, I'm not going to that, but I would go to like Janela Spring Break or whatever Ring of Honor does, or even MLW probably has something coming up. I would do all the minor shows around there that you normally wouldn't do.
Yeah, you know what? First off, the Meadowlands is not New York as much as WWE markets it that way. It's just not. It's not the same. It's not Madison Square Garden. But what I would say is, for as expensive as those WrestleMania tickets might be, for Meadowlands is coming April. I would pay um, way more than the cheapest ticket there to get cheap seats at a WrestleMania at MSG again.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I would rather them really make astronomical ticket prices for a WrestleMania at MSG to offset the cost of having to put all those people in there. Um, and I'd rather see that. I think that would look a lot better on TV. And I think live, then you feel like you've really seen something special versus being
Absolutely.
in
And
being in a sea of people in the cold, most likely.
oh yeah, it rained last time. I was there. It was not a fun experience, and it was a shitty car too. But it rained. It was not a good experience.
Yeah.
But I think that I don't know. I mean, you could really raise the price of WrestleMania or whatever you want, and I think there are people are going to still they're still going to go. It just
Right.
it's reached that kind of appeal that it doesn't matter anymore. But I do think it also they're shooting themselves in the foot with with how long it is because it's not an ideal experience, like if you're like a true wrestling fan and you don't want to get up or miss anything, like say you don't have to pee for 7 hours, you don't want to get up and miss anything, you're sitting there for 7 fucking hours, like that's a long time, and by the end of it you're brain dead.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Um, I am one of the people that is currently advocating to turn WrestleMania into a 2 night event. Also,
Yeah.
I just think there's just too much for it, and you know, I mean, then you can truly have two WrestleMania headliners rather than lying like WWE does now, saying they do. Oh, you main event WrestleMania, you were in the world title match, but no, I wasn't though because I didn't go on last. It's Punk's point. But this way, you can really have two WrestleMania main events. You can have a main event for the people and a main event for yourself, for the company. They do the Roman Reigns thing one night, and then you can put AJ Styles and John Cena in the other main event, and then you can really see which one does better.
Or I mean, you could also do like the Raw title one night, SmackDown the other. You could
Right.
even keep. I mean, I don't know if you wanted to bring legends in, and you could figure out where to put them. But It would also be cool just to, like, a SmackDown WrestleMania and a Raw WrestleMania and actually build it up to where it's WrestleMania worthy.
Absolutely. Um,
And bring it back to 3 hours. 3 hours is ideal. Like 4 hours is are fine, but 3 hours is all you need, especially if you're doing 2 nights.
WrestleMania has to be 4 hours.
But it wasn't always 4 hours.
I just remember it being where all the pay-per-views got 3 hours. But this was also when Raw was only 2 hours. So when the pay-per-views did go 3 hours, that was like special. So the pay-per-views would be 3 hours, but WrestleMania would be 4 because it was WrestleMania. Then they started making all the pay-per-views. First they bumped SummerSlam up, and then they made all the pay-per-views 4 hours. Then they made them co-branded. Then they split them again, and they brought them back together. Then they made everything 5 hours. Then they made everything 5 hours with a pre-show, a kayfabe pre-show that no one even cares about, and the people doing it go in and out of character. Plus,
Shorter
it
is
gives
better.
It gives that Rosenberg something to do.
Shorter is, it's 2018. People don't want to be there too goddamn long, and especially, I mean, I don't know, like for your thing, if you did two, then you have to bump NXT back a night. You have to bump the Hall of Fame back a night. You've got Raw, you've got
So
SmackDown. No, I'm saying now it's longer, so a 7 hour thing, it just doesn't fit in. Even today, for wrestling fans that do all four, sitting through WrestleMania is probably the worst part of it. Although the Hall of Fame's pretty long.
yeah, that would kind of suck. I don't know if I would have any desire to go to a WWE Hall of Fame reception.
I had a friend the first year we went. I had a friend that bought like scalp tickets for it for $60, and we were in Miami having a blast, drinking underage, and he spent that night at the Hall of Fame, and I couldn't wrap my head around it, man. I just couldn't. I don't want to pay to hear people. It's like with the podcast thing. I really just
Sure,
I want to pay to watch something. I don't want to pay to hear something.
but that's really boring because it's just so redundant. Just
Oh,
one
it
after
is.
another. But did he like it?
He did, but he hasn't he hasn't gone back.
Yeah. No, that would be probably something I wouldn't do. I mean, I guess it'd be cool to like look at all the wrestlers sitting together, but when you've seen that, and you can also see it on TV for free.
Well, they do a great job with it. I mean, I think the red carpet of the Hall of Fame is arguably more entertaining than the fucking ceremony. Some of these guys are drunk. Some of these, it's
Yeah,
like
they've got their
slaughter.
wives.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the wives is the best part. Seeing who these people are married to is fascinating.
Yeah,
And
finally getting to meet Wandy after all these years.
he got Slaughter flirting with that Kathy Kelly chick, and she's freaked out. And it's 2018, and this old man should not be doing it. It's fun
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, it is. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. Like I think WrestleMania would definitely be best be served as like a 2 day thing, and you can kind of even theme the days like whether it's Raw or SmackDown, or you can have a day with more of like um your by the book title matches WrestleMania, and then have another WrestleMania for like more personal issues.
Absolutely, I'm on board. I think you should take over.
I should take over all things wrestling, not just WWE. And then I can divide into 10 promotions. I can have my Las Vegas promotion with King of the Strip. Ideally, the perfect guy to really like if I were to throw money at to like here elevate my Las Vegas idea, it would be Adam Cole.
Yeah, I could see that.
He'd be the guy I have in mind for that.
I, I think Joey Ryan though, King of the Strip, King of the Sleaze. I see it there.
I could use him, but it would have to be under my terms, if you know what I mean.
You're gonna neuter his character. You're like Vince after all.
No, what I would do is I would get Chris Angel to do a guest spot. We'd run it the Mandalay Bay Event Center or something like that, and I'd get Chris Angel to run over from Luxor, and he could make Joey Ryan's cock disappear.
Maybe that'll be the headline. I don't know. I'm liking these ideas.
But you see what I mean, though, because you have all these like celebrities that like reside in Vegas, like doing their shows and stuff. It creates like an interesting opportunity to like take advantage of that too.
Oh, absolutely. I'm on board. I'd go out. I've never been to
Magicians
Vegas.
and comedians and performing artists.
You
Like I
need
would
a
love.
money mark.
Well, yeah, you would need money to fund it. But it's a good idea. Like it's an idea that I would take like to the Sharks and Shark Tank. Maybe Cuban will
Oh, I
fund it
like that.
or Mr.
That's a good
Wonderful.
idea. I'm close with Mr. Wonderful. We're boys now.
I heard. Yeah, didn't you interview him
I did.
for ASI?
ASI, baby. Making the dreams come true.
That's awesome. But no, I could see it working. I'd love to do an angle with like Boys to Men.
They
Maybe
what did they do? They performed at the halftime show or so, or they kicked off the Eagles season or something like that. I don't know. I'm just so
they
tired of
did,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm so tired of them like being like the only Philly band that they trot out for this stuff.
Yeah, they sounded weird when they did that too. It sounded a lot better
Yeah.
at WrestleMania in '99. You ask me. All right, John.
Have we reached the gamut here?
Yeah, do you have anything else you might want to add?
I think we
Ask
touched
me.
on everything. I'm trying to think any cheap plugs or anything. When by the time people listen to this, we have an interview with. Well, first of all, let me ask you, who's your favorite superstar in SmackDown history?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, you know what? Rey Mysterio makes a compelling case. Um, Eddie Guerrero would be an easy answer, and it very well might be him because it was on SmackDown that he really became a main eventer and then really just took the bull by the horns. It really became one of the more interesting men in wrestling up until his death. Batista ran with the belt for a long time. And then there's always the Undertaker, who was SmackDown. He once SmackDown really became a thing, he never went back to Raw. But I'm gonna go with Kurt Angle.
Well, you're
I think
wrong. The answer is Vito. Remember with the dress?
I remember that. I was a kid. I loved him.
Well, we have an interview up right now with Vito talking about supposedly his movie, which fucking sucked. But he goes on to talk really about all the issues with WWE today and what he would do differently and people that he thinks
That's interesting.
they dropped the ball. Yes, very, very. I did not expect him to be up to date with anything. So it's well worth the read.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I always had a soft spot for Vito. I don't know. I don't really remember if I thought he was, if I would think today if he was good or bad. But I don't know.
Well, his character wouldn't even go on TV today.
It's hilarious though if you think about it. He
Yeah,
wasn't
I
like
mean,
it wasn't like he was like a drag queen. He was just a
no,
dude that liked wearing a dress.
yeah, but it would still people would complain and half the shit that we grew up on. And we're not even talking about like 98 to like not even like the real Attitude Era. We're talking about like the mid 2000s shit.
Yeah.
That would
Remember,
not even
I'm
yeah.
just gonna throw some names out. Kerwin White.
Yeah, which okay. I liked the character and I can't I mean like I know why they stopped it because it was like right when Eddie died, but that had so much more. Like he only did that for a short amount of time. He didn't get a good run with that.
It was about a 2 month thing. It culminated in him beating Shelton Benjamin on I think Unforgiven '05 or something.
But he had that great. Well, he had like Sinatra's theme song or something, didn't he? I forget. I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, yeah, he
Yeah.
came out to yeah. I don't remember
That was so
what the
funny.
song was, but yeah. And Dolph Ziggler was his caddy.
Yeah, yeah, it was good stuff. You
Yeah,
got,
it
of
was.
course, the go-to is Eugene. Would never make air today.
There's Eugene. Yeah, I just saw a GIF of him pedigreeing Triple H at SummerSlam. It's on Squared Circle right now, actually. Um, Eugene the Comic Goof, and then you had of course the Katie Vick stuff.
Yeah.
You had um Snitsky.
Killing the baby.
Yeah.
That would never happen today.
You had Vince in the exploding limo.
Which even back then was still like weird.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't know if you know that. I don't know if anybody really ever talks about this. So because most people just remember that night when he blew up, and then people remember the next Raw is the Benoit show. But
Yep.
people, I think, forget that there was a SmackDown in between, and the SmackDown starts out with the whole roster on the stage like a 10 bell salute for Vince's character. And it's only 2 years after they did it for Eddie, and it just feels so weird. It really
I'm gonna go
it does
find
not.
that.
Yeah, the whole episode, it's like JBL talking
Jibble.
about Vince. Yeah. He's like defending him like he gave us jobs and stuff. I don't know. The whole thing does not age well. But really that 10 bell salute, something that we've seen them do so many times. Now they're doing it like fake. Oh, and people forget about it. It was surreal watching it.
Man, that's wow. Wow, that's crazy. I need to find that. Remember
Yeah.
when Vince blew up and he walked down like the hall and like all the superstars were like standing there looking at him. It was very bizarre.
Yeah.
And then they show Paul London and he's like grinning from ear to ear.
Yep.
I think that got him fired.
That was, I mean, I don't know. Like at the time we were kids, it was an interesting episode. And I mean, because it was Vince McMahon Appreciation Night, they also brought back all these
Yeah,
old people in clips, like Glue Albano, probably the
yeah, I
last time he
remember.
was seen.
Yeah, I watched that
And
show.
and then when the car blew up, I remember it was like the summer, so we were like all together,
Yep.
my friends and I watching it, and it was like, holy fuck, like what happened? And then I don't know. I mean, that's got to be like the weirdest week in wrestling history. If you take
Yep.
that Monday to the next, like that is the weirdest shit ever.
Yep. It. I mean, no doubt. And yeah, I was able to watch the whole thing too because it was summertime and I didn't have to wake up for school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you ever hear the story? It's in. I could do a cheap plug if I have the book around.
Sure.
Trump Mania by. Oh, here it is. Trump Mania by Lavi Margolin. I did a review and I spoke to him about it on the site. That our president actually reached out to WWE after that happened to see if Vince was okay. That is a true thing that happened.
That's I mean in what way though? Like okay, as in
Like
I know it's an
like he
angle. Did he
no
get like singed?
no no
Okay.
he did not. He thought it was a shoot. Yep.
Was that before or after he I guess it was after WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, well after.
Wow. That's weird. That's really bizarre. That's a guy I can never quite figure out though.
Our president
Yeah.
or Vince, either one really.
I'm indifferent. I mean, I'm indifferent to the guy, but like I just I know he's like heavily influenced by this wrestling stuff. And I know that he understands the concept of portraying a character, but then I hear stuff like that, and it just kind of like throws everything that I think like out of whack.
That's because they say that wrestlers are the biggest marks for themselves.
Ain't it the truth? Anything
Hell
else you got?
yeah. That's all I got. Check out the Vito thing. Gibbs interview with Selena. We're gonna have more SmackDown. We're gonna have the top SmackDown star. Well, it's all based on 20 greatest SmackDown stars, 20 greatest SmackDown moments. Even though Gibb hates that word, and I know you do too.
I do.
Um, But now listen, when I say moment, don't you like consider that an angle? Like, would an angle suffice?
It could be it could for the most part. Angles can take place before and after matches too.
All right, well
Just
that could
say
be a
you should just
moment.
say angle.
Well, I'm going to
You
still
should
say
say angle.
moment is the buzzword. We have to capitalize on the buzzword.
Right. It's not really
Uh,
our buzzword though.
no, it's not. But that's why people click on it. We don't have a buzzword. We should come up with a buzzword. I think
Yeah.
Natalia is our buzzword.
Um, Joey Ryan's penis, maybe.
I know you're going to the penis party. I can't
Ugh.
wait to see you
I'm not
there.
going.
I'll,
I didn't even
I'll
know it
see
was a
your
thing.
Snapchat.
No, you won't.
I,
No, you
I,
won't because
I know
you
you have
got
to.
rid of Snapchat.
That's true.
That reminds me, I actually have to publish my Bound for Glory roundtable. Juan Batista is working on a top 500 wrestlers list.
Oh my lord, that's what a chore that would be.
Yeah, I could not. How do you have time for that?
I don't know.
I
I don't
can't
know
even
what
name
he's thinking.
500. I can name like 350.
And he's doing it. He wants to have it done by December.
That
Like
reminds
it
me.
makes no sense.
I'm also gonna be putting together something to wrestle with top 10 again,
I'm looking forward to that.
and I have it pretty well fleshed out at this point, and I can kind of see towards the end of the year episodes that might make it. Still,
Yeah.
I can tell you, I've not been that impressed with the last couple. They focused on SmackDown episodes, and I get there
The
was some
9
significance there, but I
Yeah.
think Bruce has told the 9/11 story on the show before anyway. I felt like
What
I heard it
about
before.
what about the what was the other one? Was that the '08 pay-per-view, the Unforgiven?
That was okay.
Yeah. Well, I thought that the most interesting part of that is Conrad asking him about the independent contractor thing, and Bruce clearly like wanting to stay away from that topic.
Yeah.
It's funny like Conrad's role where he is so like he's part of Flair's family. He's obviously friends with like a lot of these wrestlers. They had a show on the network, which I don't know if it's just done for now or what the deal is. And but yet he'll say these things that they don't want talked about. And like I don't know, it's just it's a crazy balancing act of trying to please, like obviously he wants to please the listeners, that's where he's getting the money from, but he also doesn't want to like bite the hand that feeds him to an extent.
Definitely. And that's what I appreciate the most about the show. I just feel like those top there just wasn't a lot of meat on that bone. The Unforgiven episode was interesting. Talking about the scramble matches and Vince's very brief fetish with them.
Yeah.
I didn't think they. I mean, actually, you could do a scramble match in SmackDown. Shut Your Mouth. This is very interesting now. In that game, there was a match I think strictly called Time Limit,
I
and
remember that.
it was a 6-man match, and basically you're not really tagging in, but it's no rules, anything goes, and whoever has the last pinfall or submission wins the belt. So that came before the scramble match even was a thing. So whoever created the scramble, and I forget, I think they may have said who on the show. I can't remember. It might have been Vince, but it was actually already a thing created by
That's a
WWE
fun
Video
fact.
Games. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you know
See,
they
now that's
also?
something that Conrad and them they should mention that.
Did you know they also used to have fantasy WWE?
Like fantasy football.
Sort of. Basically, it was really more like DraftKings in fantasy football, like from a cut and dry standpoint. But basically, you would pick wrestlers under a salary cap, I think maybe even every month, and throughout that month, wrestlers would accumulate points by doing things like hitting their finishing move, foreign object shots, winning matches, winning belts, defending belts, um, winning streaks, so on and so forth. And then whoever had like the most points at the end of the month would like win a cash prize or something like that.
The only thing with that is like, Exhibit A is the ending to Hell in a Cell. Like something like that would just bother me and turn me off from the whole idea.
Right. Well, I don't think it lasted that long. It was definitely a thing around the time where I first started watching, maybe from the 0405 time.
Okay.
You Google it online and there's you find nothing. But I distinctly remember it, and I wonder if other people do too.
Hopefully they do. Maybe that'll be the headline. Remember WWE fan or fantasy WWE.
Maybe, and that's funny because that's going to be the last thing we talk about before we say our goodbyes. John, how can we follow you on Twitter?
Not ready. The number 4 radio.
And how about our humble little wrestling site?
Listen, man, the followers are growing. We are the Wrestling EST, and we're very active. I mean, not as active as we used to be during the shows because people are busy. But if it's a pay-per-view or something, we're very active. Give you lots of updates, lots of content. We interact, and it's a good time. Join the fun on Twitter at the Wrestling EST.
Yeah, I've definitely October is not a good time for me really to do much of anything, quite frankly. But I have kept up when I can and chimed in when applicable. By the way, I actually watched this will be the last thing I say. I watched Hell in a Cell with this girl that I'm dating, and even she could see that Becky Lynch was a babyface over Charlotte. And
We
much
need
more
to
like
set up an we need to set up an entire episode to that. How did you convince her to watch that with you?
yeah, yeah. I mean, she'll pretty much try anything new that I suggest, um, which is a great quality for her, by the way. But
Sure.
and I basically went through the rigmarole of explaining all the top feuds on the show,
Oh
and
my
then
god.
and then we got to the show, and then she liked the Charlotte Becky match, but she definitely thought that she thought there was something off about Charlotte. That's what she told me.
Well, that's a fun case study. Seeing what just a completely non-fan thinks of everything.
Hey, WWE loves catering non-fans, so they should try it.
But we really should because my girlfriend wants to go to a rest, but she only knows WWE, and I would never take her there. I would take her to an indie, but she wants to go, and I'm telling her you're not gonna like it. It's not what you think. And then Gib, we used to say when he would watch old Attitude Era shows, his wife would be there, and he'd cringe when The Godfather would come out. So I just think this whole thing of watching with your women is just a fun. It's a funny I don't know their reactions, how you feel about it. It deserves its own show.
Yeah, yeah. She loved the Jeff Hardy Randy Orton match too.
Really? See, that was sick.
Yeah, I corpsed when they did the screwdriver thing. I thought they were gonna rip his ear off.
So
I thought Jeff Hardy
really did.
signed a waiver before the match and said, "Here, you can take my earlobe."
Yeah,
I really did.
Put it past them.
No, I wouldn't. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. No, you should. What you should do is you should take her to one of those shows that Paul Green goes to, and with the bad booking. And what did they hit a woman on that one show?
Oh my god! That's your favorite person,
dude. He's like the best, worst Twitter follow of all time.
Oh my god! Good times.
Yeah. So yeah, you can follow me at Big Sexy Tote on Twitter. Follow me. Jack.
That's a pop right
Paul
there.
Green. At Big. No, that's Paul Green. I'm politely insisting. You know, I love when people say "I insist." Like, insist is like it's such a passive word, but also a very aggressive word. Like, no, I insist. Like a wink and a nod. No, I insist that you all follow Paul Green on Twitter. He's at Big Sexy Tote. He's he's a spaz, but you'll get something out of it, hopefully. And I'm at Jack Goodwillie, by the way.
As always, a true pleasure. Hopefully, people listen to this one.
Yeah, and another good episode as always. We can talk about this for days probably, but that's just the nature of it. Wrestling is such a vast multiverse that you can really take the conversation in any direction. It's kind of like that Willy Wonka experiment. What? It's like that where you go in the elevator. Wait, or maybe that was just the Great Glass Elevator in the book. Maybe. I don't know what I'm referencing. Maybe you do.
I don't have a goddamn clue.
All right. Well, let's end on that. From on behalf of the Wrestling Estate, this has been John Corrigan, and I'm Jack Goodwillie. Take care, everyone.